As soon as you're ready, James.
Yeah, I'm ready, sir. Hello there, my name is James Cooper. This is my PowerPoint about my project proposal, my final project idea. The name of it is Streams. This slide will tell you about my ideas and what I've got planned for the game so far. The name, as I said at the beginning, the name of the game is called Dreams. The genre is platformer. The story is kind of similar to some game. It's kind of similar to some films. For example, A Nightmare on Elm Street, for example. But the story goes, the main character is stuck in a dream world, and it's up to you as the player to help her out of the dream. And you have to go through trial, basically facing her fears, to help her get to the end and actually escape her dream, this dream world. The character's name is Rike. The setting is, well, as I said before, it's the character is based in the dream world. While she's asleep, she gets stuck in the world. She gets encased in the world. She can't really get out, and it's up to you, the player, to get her out. The inspiration I got from a game and a film. First is the game. The game is called One Shot. It's a puzzle adventure game which has you control the main character, which knows of your existence, but only she can communicate to you and only knows that you exist. Basically, you as the player control her through a journey. And the film is Nightmare on Elm Street, as I mentioned before. For example, the dream aspect where when you go to sleep, then you in Freddy's world. He's basically the ruler of his world. He controls whatever happens in your dreams and all that. So if you get cut, you'll carry it. For example, if you got a cut like this, you'll carry it to real life as well. And that's the sort of aspect that I got from Friday, the Nightmare on Elm Street for the game. The similar games, are, as I mentioned, because of the puzzle. The puzzle aspect I might add into the game, but the main concept was because the character needs your help to get out of the dream and all that. And the main thing I got, the main inspiration of the game came from this quote here: "The world knows you exist." So the concept is this dream world is sentient, but it only appears for someone who's got deep, dark fears about quite a lot of things. It's an unusual concept I was mixing here and there to come up with. I don't know, the concept has actually moulded itself into the game the idea that I've come up with now, and I think it's quite a decent idea. And there's the game which I mentioned, the One Shot and the Nightmare on Elm Street. Genre. My genre will be platform based, mostly, but with a mixture of puzzle as well. But the main one is platformer. A platformer is a genre game where you control a character from the start, over some obstacles, through deaths and traps and all that, to get to the end goal or the stage. And there's an example of a platform which is called Hollow Knight. And these two right here, I'm not sure what that game is, but this one here is SteamWorld Dig 2. Planning and responsibilities. The location isn't really needed, but I'm going to be at my home, and I'm going to be doing the work at home and at college, so the location is home college. The equipment I'll be using is my hard drive and my computer, or any of the computers that have the software that I need. The responsibilities, I'm going to be doing most of them. The main two that I'm going to be doing is the game designer and the sprite designer because I'm going to try and make my own sprites instead of just getting some off the internet. For the main character, I'm going to just use one that I've got off the internet. But the other enemies and all that, I'm going to design myself because it'll make it feel a lot more unique and unique. My planning timetable. This is a rough idea for what I have for my timetable. I've listed it out from week 1 to week 9. The first week I've done, I was just brainstorming. I was brainstorming mostly, working on the sprites animations, doing a bit of researching for some ideas. That's where I got the ideas for the game. Working on the project proposal. I'm still working on that. So I might. Yeah, so I'm going to spread it all out so I can easily have breaks in between the days, just to have time to myself instead of just overworking myself day after day. So for the week 2, I'm going to do. Hopefully, I'm going to try and follow the best I can. I'm going to do the best I can, follow this timetable best I can. But it's for now. It's just a rough idea for what I'm going to do, and it's just a rough idea on what I'm going to hopefully get up to in the past few weeks. Questionnaire. I did a questionnaire. I asked 6 people these questions on the board. These questions: their age, their gender, have they played games, what is their favourite game, what Nintendo and or Sega game have they played, what kind of games do they like to play, e.g. shooting, action, and so on. They all answered my questions very well. There were the majority of them were about 16 to in the 17s to 20s, mostly that age. The genders were mostly male who played games. All of them have played a game at least once in their life. Most of them most of their favourite games are stuff like GTA 5, Final Fantasy, Mario, Pokemon, Tetris, and Fallout. Games that they played from Nintendo and or Sega are Mario Kart, Legend of Zelda, Sonic, Mario, Pac-Man, and Knights. Knights of the Dream. The name of the Knights is from the game Knights of the Dreams. What kind of games do they like to play? They mostly said action, shooting, free roam, which is where you are allowed to go wherever you want in an area. You're not really limited. RPGs. Most people said that they like that because I went around and asked them separately. I asked them all separately what other genres of games they like. And a handful of them said RPGs, and mostly violence and strategy. Strategy wasn't really the main one, but some people did say, 1 or 2 people did say about strategy games. What equipment and or software I'm going to use? I'm going to be using Constructor 2 for making the game and actually making the enemies move and make the animations work. I'm just going to be using Google Images, as I said before. I'm going to be using Google Images to look up different ideas for enemies that I could do, or try and replicate and try and design in my own unique way. Or if I decide to actually just use the ones on the internet, I can easily just use them instead. Just as if I don't really have any ideas for enemies that I can design myself. And most of the ideas from this, as I said, are from One Shot and Nine. Any other ideas I can add to the game? I was, as I mentioned earlier, I'm thinking about adding a bit of a puzzle aspect to it, where you have to go from, let's just say there's a door in your way, you have to backtrack to a button that you have to press, and go back, actually open, and it opens the door, so you have to go back and forth. There's a bit of a going back and forth in the game, I'm thinking about. Any other ideas? I'm thinking about just trying to make it, not a difficult game, but similar to my old game, similar to the other game that I made, which was Steam Cube Stories. Cube Story. I designed the character. Basically made the game progressively get difficult. I might use that concept, but make them at a steady sort of balance level. Try and make them as balanced. Thank you for listening. I will answer any of your questions.
Okay, how long is your game going to be?
Yeah, I'm thinking about going up to about 4 to 5 levels, possibly, but I might go for 6. And each level will have different stages and different fears and different aspects to the next level.
Why are you doing your project proposal week 8 of your...
Project proposal week 8. That will be just the final touches and basically finishing, just going through it and all that and double checking things.
Do you know what your project proposal is, James?
Yes.
Remember last week when I was talking about it?
Yes, but I was mostly doing work on the research of mind maps and all that stuff.
So your project proposal is your form to put forward what you're going to do. So when we come back from Easter break, that should really be done. Your project proposal is part of this stage of it.
Yep.
Is putting forward what you're going to do. So you shouldn't really be doing that week 8 because you've already started your project. Then you should be well into it.
Yeah, I understand what you mean, sir. But with me, I normally change a few things here and there. So once I finish something, I normally go through it again and see if I don't, and basically just find something that I don't really like, and I just keep going through.
You don't really want to be changing though. You want to be adding. So if your project takes a different turn, you just need to say that and say what's happening. That sort of thing.